So, Liam, here we go again. It's come around quickly, hasn't it?
Very quickly, but looking forward to it. Had a real strong pre-season, so yeah, looking forward to it. Excited to get going tomorrow.
And you say, in the big scheme of things, the players that you've brought in, which very impressive um, summer with regards to recruitment. Disappointment, obviously, to lose one or two players, but the recruitment's been good, and preparation's gone well. Are you happy with everything?
Yeah, we kind of knew it when obviously we finished the season like we did at the end of last year. I think we're obviously quite heavy in terms of the dependency on the loans that we had last year, which are going back straight away. So that's going to happen. Then when the team does that well, and when Twiney and Harry did perform like they did as well within the a strong team, you're going to get interest. And we knew in the back of our heads that that might happen. The same as it happened obviously in the January with Matt O'Reilly and Fish. So that's I've spoken about it before. We're quite clear on what we are and how we operate and where we sit. So we kind of knew that was potential, and I think what we did is terrific for the club in being able to now reinvest a solid amount into the next group of players that we've been doing a huge amount of work on behind the scenes. So it's been an extremely busy one. Been quite full on, obviously. The volume of players that we've added, but I think the work that we've done. I'm excited by a lot of the players that we've brought in. I think we as some individuals, but also as a collective, there's a lot of potential within the group, and I think that's where now it's the players' job, the staff's job, the culture that we have, and then going through some of the experiences that we need to actually now flip that potential into performance, which that's probably the bit that is the unknown in terms of how long that takes.
Must be quite difficult though to integrate such a large quantity of players into the side and get them up to speed with the players that are already here, the way you want to play, and everything moving forward.
Yeah, of course, it doesn't obviously just happen overnight, and we obviously go into the game tomorrow, but it's been completely staggered when people have come in throughout the 5 6 weeks before the first league game. So people come in at different stages. We obviously cover you know certain playing principles throughout a pre-season. So what we have got is that work to call on to show the lads to revisit and to get them principles in them. But again, I think that's why what we kept on from last year, and Harry rightly so takes a huge amount of credit. But when you look at the role Skip played in that and the role that was played in that's where I feel confident that we'll get Jack Tuck into a position where he's quite clear on it quickly because of the type of players that we kept and the type of characters that we had last season that have continued with us this year. So I lean on them guys a lot. I think it's really important that they feel empowered to under own aspects of getting players up to speed, which we do. We use the senior guys a lot to mentor, to challenge, to communicate with the new players to get them up to speed with how we want to play to ultimately go and win. So yeah, like I say, it's been busy from that angle with the work in the summer, but also a huge amount of credit has to go to the staff for integrating the players and also the players that are already here because they've done a terrific job so far.
Does anything change with regards to the football, or is there any kind of style change, or is it just progression and moving forward and getting better at what you already can do?
Yeah, I think I think when I look at some of the recruitment we've done, when you look at what we played last year, I'd say we've got some what I'd say probably quite natural wingers in the team now that we've got available, and I think what I like about the recruitment we've done is that we've got real variation in terms of the personnel we've brought in. So in order to be a success in different types of games, we can make changes and tweak certain aspects of the style depending on what we need to do to get success. So the top line principles of us dominating the ball, but looking to play forward, looking to attack, looking to score goals, trying to be fairly aggressive out of possession. That doesn't change, but then the tweaks within it, we've got the possibility of doing depending on who we think can bring success in any given game.
Does that mean you're playing a different system?
Don't know. I don't know. We've got the possibility of it. Again, I'm look, systems are everybody obsesses on systems, but for me, I've always said it's kind of the starting structure. For me, we're very much principle driven. So whether we play a back four or back three, even for me, if we play a back four with the two centre halves, we'll create a line of three, but we'll do it in different ways. So you end up creating a line of three at the back. So for me, of course, the starting structure is key for certain aspects because obviously you have to move and rotate off of that. But ultimately, the principles of play don't change.
We've just spoken to Dean Lewington. I struggle every time we talk to find new words to say about Dean, but he's starting another season as an MK Dons player and captain. Just your thoughts on him, and how important and integral he is to your plans this season.
First and foremost, what a person. I think in terms of how he's been around the group, how he is as a character, is first class. Can't speak highly enough of him, and he's been said it throughout last season. I think he was massive for me and the staff in getting real feedback. He's clearly the most experienced group, so why would we not want to tap into his knowledge and his his experience? And he's continued that. He's come back in terrific shape. I have to say, it was quite funny. We did a tough running session, and he was on the floor afterwards. And I think the question put to him by one of the staff was, "How are you still doing it, Skip?" And typical Skip, his response was more, "Why am I doing it?" So yeah, I think it's pre-season 22 for him, I think he said. So he's a great example for so many players of longevity and how you go about doing that. And again, I think if you look at it, I think especially for young players, it's not about 1 week being an 8, the next week being a 4. It's consistently churning out 7 out of 10s every week, and then throwing in the odd 8 or 9, and that. I look back to Skip last year, who had a terrific season. It is about consistency, and that's what he brings, and that's what is really important for the group.
Just a couple more from me, Liam. Do you think the disappointment of the end of last season has that changed? Not just that it changed you, but has it given you impetus? Has it given you a bit of something to fight for, because you don't want to feel like that again?
Yeah, to be honest, I'd have to say it's probably in me anyway. I think that, of course, it was a tough undertake straight after, and that. But I'd like to think I'm the type. I don't dwell too much. I don't think I'm not a person that will keep stuff in the back of my head for too long. And I don't think you can be in life in general, as well as obviously football. I think you have to be able to move on quickly and have to go, right, what's next? And that we spoke about it a bit last year, didn't we? In terms of the nature of, it's hard to enjoy a Saturday win when you got a game on a Tuesday or the following Saturday, because your head jumps straight into what's next. And I was a little bit like that. Obviously, the playoffs happened. I had a few beers afterwards, as I said, I think in my last interview at the end of last season. But I was then straight into we've now got to build to go again. And I think that's my mindset in everything. Is that probably a little unhealthy in terms of the obsessiveness of it, is just constantly chasing to be the best. And that you feel that in the culture that we have here. The staff live it. I think culturally now we've got a group of players that are hungry, that are ambitious, that are driven. Which we recruit those qualities actively. We don't want to recruit people that are going to play in League One. We want to recruit people that have the potential to play higher, because that's ultimately how we improve the team. So I think we have to have that, and I think the football club's got that. I think it's not just in the team or just the staff. I think as a club we've got that real ambition, that that drive, that innovation of how we work, and I think that that has to be underpinned by by everything that we do. So yeah, for me, not dwelling, it's bang, get on to the next one, and we have to go and push to try and do what we can this year.
And what is that? What is that this year? Obviously, we will be asked where we think the side will finish. Fans will have their say. Lots of people externally will have an opinion on what MK Dons will do in this season. Have you set targets, specific targets, and are you prepared to share them with me?
Can you guess my answer? No, look, I think it's again. For me, it's not around letting my head drift too far away. I think it's we've got a large number of new players in the squad that they're just being realistic with it as well. It might take a little bit of time to gel. It might take a little bit of patience from everybody involved to understand that, because we've done some really good work on the recruitment front, but it doesn't mean it's just going to click and gel and happen. I think if you look at last season, for example, you have to go through certain experiences to learn and grow as a team. When I think back to Shrewsbury, to Doncaster away, to even Cheltenham away where we nicked the point, then Wigan away where we don't play great but we win. And I think then we did a lot of work last year on sucking on them experiences to become better and to ultimately as a group achieve your potential, so you can perform week in, week out. And that's what we're at the minute. We're a group with high potential, but the performance isn't quite there yet because we're unknown. And that again as the head coach, it's a case of going, right, let's look at the group, let's look at the team, where are they at? And it's our job then, and with the players, it's a collective of accelerating them experiences and learnings And you know, we need to suck some of that up, I'm sure, along the way. We need to not play well and win, and we need to play well and lose. We need to concede a goal in the last minute to, you know, I think that's the learning that you need to take to, you know, to actually as a group, you know, be able to handle all situations so that you can do, you know, what we did at the end of last year, which is, you know, put together a string of performances and results. So I think it's a little, look, what I've seen in training so far, what I've seen in the pre-season friendlies as we progressed, what I know the group's capable of. You know, I'm excited by it, but I'm also realistic that, you know, it might take a little bit of time. But that doesn't change in terms of the message tomorrow. The message and the expectation tomorrow is to go and perform to our maximum. You know, to deliver a performance and ultimately try and win the game. But, you know, little things within that then, you know, the relationships, you know, you haven't got 10, 15, 20 games where you know each other's, you know, games inside out. You haven't got that. So that takes a little bit of time to get there. So, like I said, I know what in my head what I think we, you know, should push for. But at the same point, I think it's then a case of seeing how the group, you know, goes along the way.
Thanks, Liam. Appreciate it. Have a good season.
Really good politician's answer by not answering her. Talk around it. Not give you an answer, just talk around it.
I won't push you any further than that. So, top 6, yeah?
So, yeah, in your next job as Prime Minister, what will you be changing to the strike was? No,
press officer.
Cambridge, it doesn't feel like it was long ago that we were at Cambridge. You know, I've obviously gone through an awful lot of transition, but they seem to be a fairly similar side to the way that they finished last season. You expecting a similar sort of test from them?
Yeah, we obviously watched bits of them, and I think I said it last year. Mark's done a terrific job there. When you know, first and foremost, when you go there, the culture, got a terrific group of players in terms of attitude, work rate, and I think in terms of you look at their level, the bits we've seen so far, they've really improved. And that's what, again, I think, you know, his background in development, I think that's what you will get. You know, he'll create the right culture. They'll evolve and they'll improve, which, you know, I think credit to him and his staff, because you can see that in the bits that we've seen. So don't expect huge changes in personnel from them, or massive changes in how how they went about things last year because of it being a similar group. But yeah, we know it's going to be a really tough game, tight pitch. I'm sure there'll be you know, good energy around the place. I know we're obviously taking a terrific support, which will be great. And it's then obviously, you know, it's a great first game to you know, to go and be a part of.
You mentioned the fans there. I mean, I think it's the 6th game in a row where they've bought over 1,000 tickets to go on the road with you. That's a sign of how well MK Dons are doing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's hugely appreciated. You know, I thought, you know, be on us and the fans again this year. I think there was a real good connection last season, and you know, that played its part massively in you know, us picking up results, and especially in terms of, I think it sometimes gets underestimated, the impact it has in swinging momentum in games. You know, the noise that they can create in it. You know, I think some of the away games last year, you know, that it has such an impact on the players. You know, when you're up against it a little bit and you hear that noise and that energy, it can flip it. So, look, we're delighted to have that following again, and you know, long may it continue this season. And you know, we hope as a group of staff and players that we can, you know, put on performances and get results that, you know, the fans want to be associated with. You know, and that will ultimately keep them coming, hopefully. So, yeah, no, we're looking forward to it and looking forward to seeing them again.
A player that we've not really spoken an awful lot about for a long time, and not spoken to and not really seen an awful lot of, is Zach Jules. Notice he's obviously back in the fold with you guys, and if you are to believe anything from squad numbers, which I don't really put much credence in, but he's gone from the number 4 to the number 33. What have you seen, if anything, any change in him since going out on loan, and is he part of your plans again this season?
Yeah, Zach's come back. And really pushed pre-season, to be fair. I have to speak well of him in terms of how he's come back, and as you'd have seen in some of the games, he's a little bit centre half, a little bit left back, and he's a terrific character. He's come in, he's worked really hard, and again, I think it's a case of, you know, obviously seeing how things pan out in the near future.
That's great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Liam, you've got a very young squad. A lot of the new players are aged between 19 and 21. Some players have never played first team football. Some players are playing in this country for the very first time. How do you kind of get them mentally prepared for this opening day?
I think not about doing anything drastic. I think, you know, when you look at it, the lads obviously coming over from Ireland are actually, you know, 40, 50, 60 games professional over there. And, you know, I've worked with quite a few players from Ireland, the league. When you look at it out there, competitive, you know, you get decent crowds at it. You know, there's some experienced guys out there as well. So I think, the lads, especially coming over from there, you don't have to do anything different. They're hungry to get going. They're chomping at the bit from, that perspective. I think is more around in terms of understanding what performance looks like. I think that's the big thing for us is, of course, we want to win the game, but it's, what do you have to do in order to do that? And, we've covered a huge amount of work. There's so much detail, and all the staff have done a terrific job in delivering, what I think is a really strong pre-season, getting us ready to go tomorrow. So, again, I think for me, it's just getting the players to focus on what they need to do to be successful tomorrow. And that they've been doing it most of their careers. It doesn't massively change just because it's a competitive League One game.
Someone that obviously knows what it takes to be pretty successful at this level, Bradley Johnson, nice experienced head. He must be really valuable when you've got such a young squad of hungry players.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, he's been a really good addition, I think, in terms of what he brings with his experiences, his knowledge, his little bits in terms of, the game management and understanding what it takes to be successful. I think, given the career he's had, he's able to pass on, some really key bits of information. And that's our job now as a group of staff, is to challenge him to give more from that perspective, because, sometimes it's how do you get that across to young players? So we're pushing him on that, and he's really buying in, which is terrific. And I think after that, you then have to look at what he brings as an individual player-wise. The pre-season games when he's come on, you can see his quality. His level individually as a player has been really high. So I think that's what I like about, what he brings, is that he can accelerate the development in some of the younger players, but he also still has, a huge amount to contribute to the games as well.